Let me talk about anger, because many parents are struggling with their own anger issues as well as anger issues of their children. So there are two types of anger. First, we must understand that anger is a very healthy, normal human emotion. Each time a person feels that, something has happened which is not okay, or things have gone against the wishes, or the person feels threatened, then anger is an automatic response that is shown. So anger as an emotion is very normal. But how that anger is expressed makes it either healthy anger or toxic anger. So let us understand these two types of anger expressions which can either make it healthy anger or toxic anger. Let us understand healthy anger. This is when we are deliberately showing anger in order to get things done or to show our assertiveness, whether it is with your staff, whether it is with your spouse, whether it is with your child. This is when you are firm, you are saying that you are angry, but you are not dysregulated. You are not screaming, shouting, abusing or being violent, but you are allowing yourself to show that anger or express that anger which according to you is valid. This means if you are dealing with a child, then healthy anger is when you tell the child, I see that you are not cleaning your room. I have told you so many times to clean the room, but you are not cleaning it. Can you please tell me why this is happening? And now if you don't clean the room, then we will have consequences. Here I am expressing my anger and displeasure, but I am not blaming, I am not criticizing, I am not being emotionally, verbally abusive, and I am not being violent. This is a very empowering way to express anger. The other type of anger is toxic anger, where the anger completely overtakes me, which means the anger now starts deciding what I do and how I do. When anger is toxic anger, then these are the parents who go out of control. So they become abusive, violent, they beat up the children, or they hit themselves, they throw things, or they become verbally abusive, and very soon afterwards they realize that they did not want to do this. So normally toxic anger is followed by a lot of guilt and regret. So these are the parents who will beat up the children, shout and scream at them, and later on go and cry in the room or feel bad about it or apologize to the child. Now toxic anger shows that this person is dysregulated, which means when I am not in control of emotions, that is when toxic anger takes over. That makes me come across as helpless and powerless. So toxic anger, whether you show it to your colleagues, whether you show it to your spouse, your friends or your children, whenever the other person is seeing a person who is overcome by toxic anger, he sees that person as being helpless, out of control and dysregulated. So it is a very disempowering situation to be in. When you have toxic anger, it is important that you learn to regulate your nervous system so that you can balance your emotions and learn to express that anger in a more healthier way. So the same thing, if the child, you have told repeatedly to your child to clean up the room or do the homework and the child is not doing it, then instead of screaming and shouting, you can actually express your anger or displeasure in the healthy way. So the child gets a message that yes, what I have done is not right, my parent is not okay with this, and I have to do something about it. But when you are dealing with a child with toxic anger, the child actually either shuts down, gets completely scared, or now starts becoming rebellious or starts seeing you as a parent who is completely out of control. So the child is not going to take you seriously. And also, if this happens repeatedly, the child is also going to learn the same toxic anger that the child will now start imitating and practicing as an adult. So if you have toxic anger, remember you can use self-regulation techniques like EFT, breathing, self-hypnosis, coherence, heart-focused breathing, pranayama practices. There are different ways to bring down the heart rate and regulate your breathing so that you can regulate your nervous system and you can learn to express healthy anger and not toxic anger. Healthy anger is when you can discipline your children with firmness, with compassion, and yet have a right to be angry at certain things. And that does not harm the child. But toxic anger is what really traumatizes the child, does not help the child to learn any lessons that you are trying to teach, and in fact only creates a distance between the parent and the child. So focus on healthy anger and try to heal yourself of toxic anger. If you have been a victim of childhood trauma, if you've grown up with parents who've shown toxic anger and who've been out of control, violent and abusive, then there is a high likelihood that you might also have toxic anger and it would be getting triggered by your child. So take help for yourself and try to overcome toxic anger so that you can build healthy relationship with your child. You can be a parent who can discipline your child with anger and firmness, but not the toxic anger, the healthy anger.